8. The philosophy of time and the Sabbath. The idea of the Sabbath in the modern world is largely emptied of its biblical and eschatological meaning. For church members, it means a day for worship, and, for others, a day of reprieve from work. The Sabbath is at best a church day rather than a holy day. It is geared to an institution rather than to the Lord and to the meaning of time. Holy days have given way to holidays, which are nationalistic and humanistic in nature. This humanistic world gives us, on the one hand, Freud's world, in which the future repeats the past, and, on the other, a man-planned world, which is, to use Rosenstock-Hussey's phrase, a prearranged world without a future. The new solar calendar trains man to think of the future not as something new, but as something that can be calculated in advance. Future, in this world of economy and technique, is the prolongation of the past. If former civilizations had dared to think of the future as an annex to what we know about the past, a special grammatical form for the future would probably never have been invented. Humanism can require men to work, but it cannot give them a sense of vocation nor a calling. It can require men to live and work in time, planned by man for man's own decree, but it cannot thereby give any enduring meaning to time. In such a world, holidays give a respite and relief from work, and then work gives an escape from this pseudo-rest. Neither work nor rest have meaning, and both are empty of essential content. The Sabbath, on the other hand, is not an escape from work, but a celebration thereof. The Sabbath celebrates, first of all, God's work. All things have meaning, because basic to all things is God's handiwork and His decree of total predestination. In a world of total meaning and total government by the triune God, man can rest in the confidence that God is on the throne, and He shall prevail. God declares, I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, My counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. Isaiah chapter 46, verses 9 and 10. For, as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth the bud, that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Isaiah chapter 55, verses 10 and 11. Second, the Sabbath has as its culmination the Jubilee. We are given not only the weekly cycle of Sabbaths, and other holy days are Sabbaths as well, but a Sabbath of years as well, a Sabbath every 7th year, and the Jubilee after the 7 times 7 years, that is, the 50th year. Modern vacations are poor substitutes and secularizations of the Sabbath year concept. The Sabbath witnesses to God's final victory. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 1 to 11. It declares that the gates of hell cannot prevail against, that is, cannot withstand the assault of Christ's ecclesia, assembly, or kingdom. The Jubilee means restoration and liberty, and the Jubilee proclamation gives us the heart of the Sabbath and its meaning. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you. And ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10. To reduce the meaning of the Sabbath to church service, necessary as they are, is to miss the point of both the Sabbath and the services of worship. Third, the Sabbath and Jubilee witness to the meaning of time under God. As against the pagan view of cyclical time, the endless repetition of meaningless events, we have linear time, time going from beginning to end in terms of God's sovereign decree and purpose. The Bible does not allow us to see the pattern of weekly and 7-day Sabbaths as a cycle. They do not repeat themselves. They are way stations to victory. The man with a calling celebrates his progress in that calling weekly, and rejoices that his salvation is the work of God, and his calling is in God's service. The Sabbath years celebrate his prosperity and capitalization under God. Because his debts are short-term, for 6 years, he comes into the Sabbath year debt-free and better capitalized to glorify God. Because he has no debts, he is not enslaved thereby and can rest in peace and joy. Faith in the God of the Sabbath and in his Sabbath mean prosperity and fertility to righteous nation and people. Leviticus chapter 25, verses 18 to 22. Fourth, the Sabbath celebrates our salvation as entirely the work of God, so that we rest. We do not work to save ourselves, since it is God's doing entirely. The psalmist praises God, who is the health of my countenance and my God. Psalm 42, verse 11, Psalm 43, verse 5. He is our health and our salvation, so that we stand at the weekly beginning of time, rejoicing in our beginning and ending in the Lord. We celebrate our salvation and our progress towards God's appointed purposes for time and history. The Sabbath is a biblical doctrine. It has no real counterpart in pagan societies, although there are some superficial resemblances. Thus, in the ancient Near East, there were occasionally royal releases from certain kinds of debts and services. Similar releases exist in the modern world. Thus, in the 1970s in the United States, in times of recession, the federal government remitted a small portion of the taxes it claimed. Furthermore, the compulsory draft was also dropped for a time. Neither constitutes a Sabbath. Such releases are forms of disaster relief, or else political ploys to curry popular favour. They tell us nothing about the meaning of time. Both in ancient and modern form, these releases are totally alien to the meaning of the Sabbath. Scholars who see a relationship between them are merely governed by a faith which dictates that all things biblical must have an historical rather than a revealed source. Such efforts obscure rather than illumine the meaning of the Sabbath. There is no salvation in these pagan releases, and hence no Sabbath. They speak rather of bondage. They are a witness to enslavement. Fifth, the Sabbath is not only for man, but also for his animals and fields. It is a time of rest and redemptive reconstitution. Because the earth itself is comprehended within God's plan and purpose, the earth must rest and be strengthened for its glorious future. Sixth, because the Sabbath is an aspect of covenant law and a celebration of the covenant, it witnesses to the fact that history and time are stages for the development and fulfillment of that covenant. God, by his grace, covenants with man and gives him a place and calling in God's purpose and plan. Time, thus, is never without meaning. Every hour, minute, and second thereof is covenant time, and man in the covenant enters into that world of meaning. A philosophy of time which has no Sabbath is thus left with only a meaningless succession of events. It tries to give meaning to that succession of moments and events, by decreeing its own idea of the Sabbath at the end. This can be the communist utopia, the anarchist's ideal, autocracy, or any other such humanistic goal, but it is an arbitrary and man-made choice. It offers a hope of meaning, not meaning itself, and it gives no rest. The great community is a possible future meaning, but the present, being void of that ersatz, or synthetic Sabbath, has no meaning. The hope of meaning soon turns into a despair of meaning. A rejoinder to the proverb, "Time heals all wounds," sums it up. In time, we are all dead. In a deeper sense, if men have nothing beyond time, then indeed men are all dead in time. However, where time is under God's government and decree, time has meaning, and it is the, quote, place, end quote, of both work and the Sabbath.